In this video, we'll be comparing Blackmagic's newest camera, the Ursa Mini Pro 12K, and Arri's very first Alexa camera. Can a 10-year-old dinosaur beat out the Ursa Mini Pro 12K? Now, just a disclaimer, I will only be talking about the things that are important to me, so if you want to know something I didn't talk about, just hit me up in the comments below. Second, I am not a pro filmmaker whatsoever. I am just a YouTuber with an expensive hobby, so please do take what I say here with a grain of pepper. Now, let's begin. First things first is build quality. The two cameras are pretty well built, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna have to give it to the Arri Alexa since yeah, it's 10 years old and it's still kicking names and taking butts. Arri Alexa is a tank. Now, I can literally hit it with a baseball bat and I'm pretty sure it's still going to work. Next up is portability. My Ursa Mini Pro 12K Crane S Sigma 1835 weigh about 16 pounds flat, while the Alexa setup without any gimbal with a small lens weigh around 23 pounds. This is one of the reasons why I bought the 12K. I'm trying to go back to travel videos and I just don't see myself checking in a 23-pound camera in an airplane and running and gunning with it around cities. Next, we'll talk about is media options. The Ursa Mini Pro 12K records to SD, CFast 2.0, USB-C, and you can get an external recorder as well. The Arri Alexa records to Sony SXS, which are fairly cheap nowadays, but that's only ProRes. For you to record RAW, you will need an Odysee recorder, which is discontinued as far as I know. I will have to give it to the Ursa Mini Pro 12K because it has a built-in RAW recorder and have more media options. Which brings us to recording options. The Ursa Mini Pro 12K only shoots Blackmagic RAW internally, but I'm sure in the future you would be able to shoot to an external recorder, like a monitor or something as well. While the Arri Alexa shoots ProRes, and if you have the external recorder, like I said, you can shoot Arri RAW. That being said, I've always shot RAW with any cameras that I've owned that shot RAW, so Ursa Mini Pro 12K will win this one. Frame rates is what we'll talk about next. The Arri Alexa can shoot up to 1080 60 frames per second in ProRes internally, but you have to pay for a high-speed license, while the Ursa Mini Pro 12K can record up to 240 frames per second in 4K Super 16 mode. The Ursa Mini Pro 12K has so many HFR options in 12K, 8K, and 4K. Now let's talk about the most important part, the image. Now I'll be basing my verdict on what you get straight out of the camera because A, not everyone is a pro colorist. I sure for one am not. And B, given enough time and effort, one can make any camera look really good. Shooting RAW with both cameras and applying the respective Rec 709 counterparts in post-production, I noticed that the Arri Alexa beats out the Ursa Mini Pro 12K straight out. The Ursa Mini Pro 12K, like many Blackmagic cameras, tend to love magenta in the skin tones. Outdoors, the Ursa Mini Pro 12K, again similar to other Blackmagic cameras, the greens are more like browns. Even when using the built-in ND filter, the story is the same thing. However, like I said, it's absolutely nothing you can't fix in post, but that is if you have time, of course. I know of a couple of videographers who do same-day edits on their wedding packages, meaning they shoot the wedding and then they will have an edit to show the same day at the reception that same night. So people like them won't have time to do a lot of stuff in post-production, but that's just an example, of course. Overexposure test between the two cameras, the Arri Alexa recovers more highlights than the Ursa Mini Pro 12K straight out. Underexposing 6 stops under key, the Ursa Mini Pro 12K looks cleaner, but just so you know, you'll be running into the horizontal lines like you've seen in previous cameras. I wouldn't go past 3 or 4 stops under with these cameras, but that's just me. The Ursa Mini Pro 12K's highest ISO is 3200, same as the Arri Alexa. At that high of ISO, the Ursa Mini Pro 12K looks cleaner in my opinion, but I've said it before, the Arri Alexa at 3200 is not bad either. The noise looks very organic. But if you want clean image, I would go with the Ursa Mini Pro 12K at 3200. So the verdict, which camera to choose? Both cinema cameras are fantastic. What you will need to decide for yourself is portability, since I think one can make the Ursa Mini Pro 12K look as good as the Alexa with time and talent. But one cannot shrink the Arri Alexa and make it lighter. Well, I guess Arri did with the Arri Mini LF, but that's $60,000 body only. The best camera is the camera you can bring with you. If you don't have to move the camera a lot and want a fantastic looking camera out of the box, get a used Arri Alexa. You can get one on eBay for $6,000. But if you want a lighter camera and a newer camera, then obviously go with the Ursa Mini Pro 12K. I will be reviewing the Ursa Mini Pro 12K by itself since I have a little bit more to say about the camera, so stay tuned for that. Like always, let me know if you guys have any questions, and I will see you guys later.